There is an ongoing issue gradually affecting the foundation of the United States. It may not always make headlines, but it is present in communities across the country every day. Rather than a sudden catastrophe, it is a steady process. Potholes deepening over time, bridges aging under constant use, and neighborhoods experiencing more frequent power outages. This is the state of America's infrastructure. Experts estimate that addressing these issues will require nearly $4 trillion. This amount would bring roads, bridges, and utilities to a level that aligns with national goals. The impact extends beyond inconvenience. It affects the economy, public safety, and the country's global standing. Each delay and closure has a cumulative effect on national confidence. Meanwhile, other countries are making significant progress, constructing modern airports, high-speed rail systems, and advanced power grids that highlight the contrast with American infrastructure. Infrastructure serves as the backbone of economic activity, forming the network that supports daily life and commerce. Ongoing neglect slows growth and presents challenges for businesses. The American Society of Civil Engineers currently rates U.S. infrastructure at a C-. This assessment serves as a clear indicator of the need for improvement. Water, power, and transportation systems are often described as average, and in some areas, they are failing. This is evident in flooded streets, unreliable electricity, and persistent traffic congestion. Traffic congestion alone results in significant time and financial losses for drivers each year. Water main breaks lead to the loss of billions of gallons of treated water, creating both economic and environmental concerns for cities. The aging electrical grid contributes to more frequent and prolonged blackouts, which have measurable economic impacts. Infrastructure reliability is also linked to national security and international competitiveness. The military, supply chains, and the country's reputation all depend on these systems. As of December 2025, China continues to invest heavily in infrastructure, rapidly modernizing both urban and rural areas. These investments are part of a broader strategy to strengthen economic influence and attract global business and innovation. Allowing infrastructure to deteriorate provides competitors with a clear advantage, one that may take considerable time and resources to address. The gradual decline of infrastructure can be interpreted as a signal of shifting global dynamics, suggesting the need for reassessment and action. For many years, investments have been postponed and maintenance deferred, with the expectation that issues would resolve over time. However, the evidence indicates otherwise. The result is reduced competitiveness for businesses, increased vulnerability for communities, and greater uncertainty about the future. The financial costs continue to rise, and the associated risks become more significant with each year of inaction. The United States is losing ground, and this trend is being observed internationally. Other nations are moving forward while domestic debates continue. This situation reflects a pattern of missed opportunities and underinvestment, visible in unfinished projects and closed facilities. The consequences of inaction are experienced daily, affecting productivity and quality of life in both direct and indirect ways. Addressing these challenges will require decisive action and sustained investment. America's infrastructure situation is a significant issue that warrants careful consideration and response. The central question remains: will the necessary steps be taken, or will the opportunity for improvement be missed? The United States once led the world in infrastructure, building landmarks like the Hoover Dam. Following the mid-20th century building boom, the pace of development slowed as priorities shifted. Maintenance budgets were often reduced, and upgrades were frequently delayed. Political attention tended to focus on new projects rather than ongoing upkeep. Over time, deferred maintenance allowed minor issues to become significant and costly problems. Opportunities to modernize, such as expanding fiber optic networks or updating the power grid, were often missed. These delays gradually increased the scale of the challenge. Much of today's infrastructure relies on investments made by previous generations, with fewer recent commitments to long-term improvement. As a result, a modern economy now operates on infrastructure built for an earlier era. This situation reflects a pattern of short-term decision-making and limited investment. The consequences of these choices are now becoming clear. The differences between America and China's infrastructure are significant, and these distinctions continue to develop over time. While the United States often engages in lengthy discussions and planning, China steadily advances its infrastructure, constructing high-speed rail lines, modern airports, efficient ports, and extensive superhighways that support its economic activity. This approach is not solely about convenience. It reflects a broader strategy aimed at strengthening economic capacity and international influence. In China, goods are transported efficiently and at lower costs across large distances. In contrast, the United States faces logistical challenges, with delays and congestion that can impact businesses and workers. China allocates approximately 8% of its GDP to infrastructure, focusing on long-term investment. The United States, by comparison, invests about 2.4%, which presents challenges in keeping pace. China is also investing in future-oriented technologies, such as 5G networks, artificial intelligence hubs, and ultra-high voltage power lines that connect vast regions. Meanwhile, the United States is focused on maintaining and repairing existing infrastructure, addressing issues like aging roads and water systems that require significant updates. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China is extending its infrastructure model internationally, developing transportation and trade networks in Africa and Southeast Asia. Historically, America was recognized for its leadership in infrastructure innovation. Today, it often observes as other nations take on that role. The current state of American infrastructure can affect its international credibility and influence in global discussions. The widening infrastructure gap is increasingly reflected in global power dynamics, with potential long-term implications. The United States is working to address existing challenges, while China continues to introduce new projects and set benchmarks. The outcome of these differing approaches will influence both countries' economic prospects and positions in the global landscape. As global development accelerates, the ability to adapt and invest in infrastructure will be a key factor in determining future competitiveness. The choices made today regarding infrastructure will have lasting effects on each nation's role in the world for years to come. America's roads and bridges serve as essential components of the national economy. Each day, millions of people depend on these networks for commuting, transporting goods, and maintaining community connections. However, signs of deterioration are increasingly apparent. Currently, 1 in 5 miles of highways is classified as being in poor condition, and more than 46,000 bridges are considered structurally deficient. These issues present risks for drivers and can disrupt the movement of goods and services. Traffic congestion is a significant factor, costing the U.S. economy an estimated $160 billion annually. This congestion reduces productivity and contributes to longer, more stressful commutes. Delays caused by infrastructure challenges can impact businesses, increase the cost of goods, and reduce the amount of time individuals have for work or family. In rural areas, poor road conditions can lead to isolation, making it more difficult for farmers and small towns to prosper. Low-income urban neighborhoods are also disproportionately affected, which can reinforce existing inequalities. The United States also trails other countries in high-speed rail development. For example, journeys that take 4 hours in China may require nearly 20 hours in the US, which affects competitiveness and innovation. Much of the American transportation system has not kept pace with global advancements. While other nations invest in modern infrastructure, the U.S. continues to rely on systems developed decades ago. These infrastructure challenges have both economic and social implications. They can contribute to inequality, divide neighborhoods, and limit access to opportunities. The physical condition of roads and bridges reflects broader issues, as these structures are fundamental to national connectivity and cohesion. As maintenance is deferred, the costs and frequency of repairs tend to increase over time. A strong infrastructure is necessary for effective participation in global trade. Without improvements, the U.S. may face challenges in maintaining its economic position. Modernizing infrastructure can help address these issues and prevent further decline. Investing in infrastructure supports stronger communities, a more resilient economy, and improved quality of life for future generations. America's electrical grid is significantly outdated. Many lines and transformers have been in service for over 50 years, originally designed for a different period in history. The grid's current structure makes it susceptible to weather events, physical attacks, and cyber threats. Power outages result in substantial economic costs and can impact public safety. The original grid was built for one-way power flow, which does not align with the two-way demands of today's renewable energy sources. Without modernization, the transition to clean energy is likely to face significant delays. In contrast, China is developing ultra-high voltage grids that efficiently transmit clean power over long distances. The U.S. grid remains fragmented, which limits its ability to share power and adapt to new demands. Continued inaction may lead to more frequent blackouts, increased costs, and slower technological progress. The current grid infrastructure also restricts the growth of electric vehicles and renewable energy projects. These limitations could affect both economic performance and energy independence. Upgrading to a modern, resilient grid would support America's long-term interests. The decision is straightforward: invest in upgrades or risk falling behind. High-speed internet is a fundamental part of modern infrastructure, but many Americans still do not have reliable access. This digital divide affects access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Rural communities and low-income urban neighborhoods are most affected, as private investment is often limited and infrastructure costs remain high. As a result, there is a clear disparity between those with fast internet and those without. Countries such as South Korea, Japan, and China have prioritized universal broadband access. In contrast, the United States' market-driven approach has resulted in significant coverage gaps. These gaps have practical consequences, including limited educational resources, restricted healthcare access, and challenges for small businesses. In today's information-driven society, insufficient connectivity can lead to social and economic exclusion. Expanding affordable, high-speed internet nationwide is both an economic opportunity and a matter of public interest. The digital divide continues to present challenges for many communities. Addressing these disparities will help ensure broader participation in the digital economy. Clean water is a basic necessity that many Americans use daily, often without a second thought. However, much of the nation's water infrastructure is aging, with pipes and treatment plants operating well beyond their intended lifespan. Water main breaks result in significant water loss each day, and the continued presence of lead pipes poses ongoing health concerns. The situation in Flint, Michigan, highlighted these vulnerabilities, and many communities still contend with water quality issues. Outdated wastewater systems can contribute to pollution in rivers and lakes, especially during periods of heavy rainfall. Addressing these challenges requires substantial investment, but the long-term costs of neglect, such as impacts on health and business, are considerable. Communities with unreliable water systems often experience reduced investment and declining property values. Industries that depend on clean water may also face operational risks if infrastructure issues persist. Water infrastructure is a foundational element of the nation's economy. Allowing these systems to deteriorate can have broad implications for economic stability and quality of life. A measured approach to addressing this issue is essential for the country's future. The reasons for inaction on infrastructure are rooted in political paralysis. While there is broad agreement on the need for improvement, disagreements over funding and priorities often delay progress. Decision-making is frequently fragmented, resulting in isolated projects rather than a unified national approach. Short-term political considerations tend to take precedence over long-term planning. Without a collective commitment to address these challenges, infrastructure issues are likely to persist. The situation is challenging, yet manageable. America possesses the expertise, workforce, and resources necessary for reconstruction. A comprehensive national infrastructure strategy is essential, encompassing transportation, energy, water, and digital sectors. Funding should be innovative, utilizing gas taxes, infrastructure banks, user fees, and private investment. Investments should focus on developing smarter, cleaner, and more resilient systems. Transitioning to future-ready infrastructure is crucial. Smart highways, resilient grids, and universal broadband. This represents an investment in productivity, employment, and global competitiveness. The decision is clear: either continue neglect or rebuild and advance. This transcends partisan lines. It is a national priority. The consequences of inaction outweigh the costs of proactive measures. We should draw inspiration from the spirit that achieved our most significant projects. The future of America hinges on our current actions. It is time to commence the work.